Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second Lifting the Veil series titled Mothering and Cancering. I am your host, Oluwatoyin Adewumi, also the Executive Director of TamBo Foundation. Exactly 4 years ago on Valentine's Day, I was diagnosed with stage 3 triple positive breast cancer, metastatic to my right lymph nodes. It was quite a journey. There were ups, there were downs, topsy-turvies. I got a lot of information, good, bad, and ugly, mostly false. And because of that misinformation, TamBo Foundation was birthed. Our goal here is to chip away at many of the ethnic and religious misconceptions and cultural stigmas that hold people of African descent, or Black people in general, from seeking treatment and getting the best survival outcomes. Today, we will be having a fireside chat with three wonderful, powerful women who have been courageous and brave enough to come share their stories with the hope and goal that somebody out there will know what it is to be a mother or a daughter or a sister and either go through a cancer diagnosis or have to care for somebody who was diagnosed with cancer. So for me, it was breast cancer. And I still remember very well, as a mother, as a sister, as a daughter, there were many things I had to navigate. My relationship with my husband, who is also here and watching today, my relationship with my parents, my siblings, and relationships, with the corporate body where I work. So as a woman, as a sister, as someone of the female extraction, we have to navigate a lot, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So without further ado, I will go ahead and introduce our speakers. Today we have on board Folabo Onile, Adiola Adebiyi, and Priska Otianga. I'm going to start with Adiola Adebiyi. Adiola Adebiyi is a seasoned information technology and cybersecurity executive with more than 15 years of experience in the industry. She is a director at Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts in Boston, where she supports the information security and risk management program. Prior to joining Blue Cross, Adiola held various roles at State Street, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Sun Life Financial, and other organizations. She holds multiple cybersecurity-related certifications, as well as a master's in IT management from Brandeis University and a bachelor's in computer science from Northeastern. Adiola also volunteers with Jubilee Stoughton, a faith-based organization where she helps with the children's ministry. She is married with 2 young boys, enjoys music, plays board games, explores new places, and she loves watching documentaries with her family. Next, I'm going to introduce Priska Otianga. Priska is from Kenya, and she was born into a family of 7 girls and 3 boys. She trained as a secretary, but landed a job as a business development manager with 17 years experience in sales and marketing for telecommunication, training, and information technology to date. She was diagnosed in 2019 and has gone through numerous treatment regimes, which she will be talking about today. Like she said in her bio, to date, my children have accepted my bald head, and they will cut my toenails, massage my feet, and also help out in my small farm. Mothering has not changed much for me in this season. I guess I have been more caring, loving, patient, and focused. The lockdown has helped in bonding and having fun indoors. Next on our speaker list is Folabo Ayodele Onile. She is on a mission to help create awareness and provide support and guidance to people affected with colorectal cancer. Trained as a computer information systems analyst with over 15 years background in information systems, technical support, customer service, and high-profile developments and implementations. She has a degree in computer information systems and paralegal studies. Through her work, she provides outstanding technical support and phenomenal customer service to users across the Commonwealth, traveling all the regions, implementing and supporting mass DOT applications. She received recognition for outstanding performance for her contribution at the State House. She's a wife and mother to 3 amazing children and a 4-year stage 3 cancer survivor. If she's not working on her fabulous street candy business, I'm a witness. She's chasing after her almost 2 years old, whom she was blessed with after her cancer treatment ordeal. She has kept her extremely busy, teaching her motherhood in a whole new dimension. And pretty much that's it. So I want you all to please appreciate our speakers for today. Quick house rules. They will be going first and sharing their journey. If you do have any questions, please go ahead and type in the questions. We'll be collecting the questions and we will be answering them accordingly. We'll ask the panelists to answer. So I am going to start with Folabo. I would like for her to go ahead. And then next I'll have Priska. No, actually, so Folabo and then Adiola and Priska. So Folabo, over to you. Welcome. We can hear you actually.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yeah, it's better now.
I thank you very much for inviting me on this.
Or if you can increase your volume a little bit, it's very faint.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
So thank you very much for inviting me to be a panelist on this with amazing women. It has been a real journey for me. I just want to say that no one is ever prepared to be found in this situation. No one is ever prepared, when you first hear the news that you're diagnosed with cancer. There's never a book or a manual that will prepare you for the journey. You just go ahead on the journey as it comes. Take one day at a time, and you just go. I was diagnosed in 2017. I personally had no clue what's going on. I was having some pains in my stomach, and then I went to the hospital several times, and I was told everything was fine. They never found anything. But my persistence, in going for checkups and, telling my doctors this is what is happening, you have to know your body. And doctors can't tell you, oh, this is how you're feeling. You have to know how you're feeling. And I believe that by the grace of God also, that saved me because I was persistent. Even though they were telling me I was fine, I actually went to the emergency and I was told that I don't look sick. You're fine, go home. Had it been I went home believing what they said, anything could have happened actually. And I thank God I didn't do that. So I got the checkup, and I was, and the news came that you have stage 3 colon cancer. And I was just numb because I didn't know anything was, going to happen. And I didn't know how to navigate the waters. I didn't know what to do. I was just numb. I didn't know how it happened. I mean, my primary care told me she never thought of looking that route. That's another thing, why you have to know your body. Yes, they're doctors, but at the same time, they don't have all the answers and they don't know everything. So she told me she never navigated that route to have a checkup. I did every test in the world and they never found anything. And she said, I have a very good friend who I always have in my corner when everything goes wrong and I have a patient that's having issues. I direct them to her. So that's what she did. So she told me, go to her. Maybe she will see something else I'm not seeing. And that's exactly what happened. And she was able to tell me to do the only one test everyone never told me to do, and that was a colonoscopy. And also, they told me at that time I was 41. She said I was too young, and for the screening, I was not eligible, and it wasn't something she ever thought of. She had me do the test, and boom, it was colon cancer. and the doctors told me they couldn't even do they couldn't go through the process because there was an obstruction. So they had to do a surgery, and we went that whole route. And what I also wanted to point out was the surgeon told me specifically the reason why they couldn't figure out what was happening was because the tumor was extremely hidden. So there was no equipment in the world that could have detected this. So she told me right there, she's like, God loves you because nothing, absolutely nothing could have detected this. And that was why they kept telling you you were fine. But I'm absolutely I'm filled with joy that you persisted and you came and we found this because we are all in awe. My primary care actually told me she just started crying because I've seen her for over 20 years. She said, I've never had any health issues. And this was something that just came, with like a baseball bat for her. Over 20 years of practice, you never can say, oh, I know everything, even as a physician. There's always something that comes on and you never know what you ever find. And that was a turning point for me. And I took the journey. I thank God for my husband. He stood by me. He supported me, even though this was absolutely new to him. I mean, nobody's ever prepared for this. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know how everything would turn out.
How did your children take it?
They were shocked. They were they were just, I absolutely am not in their head. That's another story for the day. Because
have you had opportunities to talk about it?
We talked about it, but not intensely. Because I just left them to navigate it with me as well. I know for a fact that at the time my daughter was home, but my son was in school at the time, and I know we wanted him to focus on his studies, so we didn't want to distract him. So I initially didn't tell him, but my daughter was at home, and I think my husband told him. My daughter was at home, so she witnessed it all. I actually say like he made her grow up because she had to step up. Mommy couldn't do anything. I remember one time she had to brush my teeth for me because my hands were so swollen. I couldn't do anything. I was just crying. So I found myself dependent on me, and I found myself being dependent on them. It was like a flip of a role.
So mothering took a whole different dimension.
Now it was almost like they were caring for me, definitely, because at that time I couldn't care for myself. And I have to say, this is where you're vulnerable. You just allow yourself to be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be cared for. Yes, you've been caring. Yes, you've been the mom taking care of everyone. At this point, I was on the reverse. I needed to be taken care of, which I wasn't really used to because I'm always like having all the hats, like going, you're sitting down, you're standing your head with so many things going on, so much you're doing as a mom. Yeah. And at this time, I find myself just sitting in one place and just being cared for. Initially, it was tough, but I just had to do anything. So it was just, I don't know. And I also want to say, I thank God for you, Tony, because I remember how you went through your journey. So on our journey, there's always someone that's going to be in your path to actually hold your hands and to direct you on how you go on some paths. And I thank God for your life, for how you went through your journey. I remember I was in the hospital with you one night. I slept in the hospital, and I remember how you were crying, groaning. I turned my face. I said, God, if this ever happened to me, I'll just die. I'll just die. Not knowing my journey was coming down the path.
Was coming.
Not knowing that God was allowing me to see you, and then so that I will be strengthened when my turn comes. I never knew I was going to. I was like, I just told myself silently. I said, if this ever happened to me, I said I'll just die. This can never. Like, this pain is too much. And then it came. I said, my life is over. but I just thank God my life was not over. It was just the beginning. It was another dimension for me. I know how I feel when I hear when people have, when I hear the news. I know my first encounter with my aunt, about 12, 13 years ago, who was diagnosed with cancer as well. And she was on a holiday staying here with me. And I remember that was my first time. At that time, I was a caregiver. On the second flip of the coin, I was
the patient.
Patient survivor. She's a survivor as well. And that was my first encounter with someone who, like, my own direct physical encounter. And I watched her go through all this. I saw everything that happened. And I said, God, this pain is excruciating. This pain is a different kind of pain from labor pain. It's a different kind of pain.
It is.
And you can never explain it. You can never ever explain it.
I actually, I love what you said about, so as a woman, as a mother, we're wearing so many hats. We're keeping everything down. We're just, busting, getting things done. But when you are the one that is in that position where you are the patient, you have to allow yourself to be cared for. And I just want to use this opportunity to give a shout out to my husband and my, and my children too. I particularly remember my daughter, Tammy, she would wear my socks because, I just couldn't. You just don't, after you just had that first round of chemo, hey, you're useless. You're useless for the first 3 days. So you need to be pampered, and it's okay. It's okay to get help. And that's if there's any takeaway from this conversation today to our attendees, that it is okay. The vulnerability is part of the journey. And in that vulnerability, actually, there's strength, because your children get to mature, your caregivers get to become more, empathetic. So that definitely is a takeaway point that I would love for people to take away today.
I also wanted to say that during that period, you just allow yourself, you reach out to people that can help, that have been on that journey. They will have information, and information is very vital, because there are things that would have happened to them. They've gone through it, and you don't have to go sourcing for it. Once they have it, they provide it to you. I reached out to her in some instance, in some occasion, and there are moments that some things happened to me after my treatment that I explained to her, and she never went through that. She never experienced it. Even my oncologist, they never saw it with any setting. My 30 years of practice, I've never seen, my hands got so swollen. I mean, like, it got so swollen. My feet, and I couldn't walk, like, even on the carpet. It feels, I don't know how to explain it. And they told me they had to document it, because they said they've never seen it before. So there are things that happen to you, and you just reach out to people. And I just wanted to say, for me personally, shea butter was my best friend, because she told me that, and I'm glad she told me ahead. She said, get yourself shea butter and get yourself coconut oil. Don't use any product. Just use that. And let me tell you, that really helped me a lot. I apply it for everything, and it really helped me. And I just think of, like, it might sound like very simple and like really, but yes, it does. It's very medicinal. It helps in so many ways, and I used it, and it really helped me. And then there were some moments, I was going through like hyperpigmentation after the chemo. I turned so dark. I was burnt. I was like basically like almost like my whole transformation. I saw my one after picture. I'm like, wow. And she, she helped me. She told me, these are the products you have to use. And if I didn't know that, if I didn't, reach out, or if she took it upon herself. And that's why when I have empathy now, I mean, I had it before, but now it's on a different level. When I see people or hear about people who have, who are diagnosed with cancer, I have empathy towards them, because I have been down, I've been down that route. so I know how it feels like. So I just naturally feel for them, and and some people reached out to me also, reaching out, taking care of loved ones. How did you do this? What did you use? And I shared my notes with them. I let them know this is what I did, and it absolutely helped. So you never know who you're helping. You never know who you're saving. Whose life you're saving. It might be like one ingredient or one word. Send it, share it, and God will take care of everything. And most also, another one thing I wanted to say is I remember the doctor told me, this journey, you have to stay positive. Yes, they're going to apply, you're going to get the treatment, but you have to be positive. One thing that kills a lot of people is fear. A lot of people, when they tell them that news, they just give up. They don't want to take the treatment. They just, decide, they just want to give up. So I just want to say, people should stay positive.
Thank you so much, Falaba. I actually have one question for you. So looking back during the time of active treatment, so as a mom, as a daughter, is there anything you could have done differently? Like just looking back and as you help others, like, oh, maybe I should have done this better. Because I remember for me, when I got the diagnosis, I had just opened, I had just launched a restaurant, which, it's my baby TamBo's Kitchen. So, it was cancer diagnosis on the left, a new business on the right. The kids were growing up. I had to married and all that. So for me, like you said, I had to be vulnerable. And one of the ways that I allowed myself to be vulnerable was to ask for help. So I got people to just manage the restaurant as much as they could while I saw treatment. I got a caregiver to help me with my kids just so that I could focus and just be, one with myself and understand what's going on. Because it just felt so, let's just say I curled up and I needed to just understand what was going on before I could let people come in. For me, if I could do anything better, if someone asked me that question, I would say, I wish I had spoken to a therapist immediately. Because what happened was 3 years down the line, my body kept score. And every time at the anniversary of the cancer, my body would just live it again. And I would just feel funny and whatnot. And I would just, separate myself from my husband, just not, don't want to talk to anybody. But I've sought help now. I'm in a better place. This year, it was totally different because I had walked through everything my body kept score. So, that is something I would have done different. So I'm wondering, is there anything you could have done different?
Not really. For me, I had people who actually reached out to me on the get-go, and I had support system, and I always say I thank God for my journey and for the people that I surrounded myself with. I thank God for my husband. He just took it up, with he took care of everything. And I thank God for my friends who, even before I say anything, they're around, they help me, and they're rubbing my legs. I remember, Stella, she came one time when I got the molester shot. I was crying, rolling on the floor, and she was rubbing my legs. She was just there. I had my friends calling me. I had a friend send me a juicer. She's like, you need to start juicing. So even before I raised up my head, I had people sending also. So I had so much going on that even myself was like, wow, this is, I just thought, I just took one day at a time, I reached out also to my parents. I remember one day I called them and I was just crying on the phone. And my dad told me, I would never forget. It's like, I'm getting on the next bus. I'm coming to Boston. I guess he just couldn't hear that cry just took over him. And he was just like, I'm coming. I'm going to come. I just thank God for people who I surrounded myself with. And I just took one day at a time. And thank God most especially for seeing me through that journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, our attendees, if you have any questions, send them along. But right now, we're going to move on to our next speaker, who is Adiola. Adiola is actually a caregiver, so she is not a patient. So we're hearing a caregiver perspective now. So Adiola, over to you.
Thank you, Tony. I'm honored to be among wonderful, strong women, survivors. Just Falaba, as you were sharing your story, I was just like, wow, I'm just in awe, and I'm thankful for all of you. So as Tony said, I'll be coming from a perspective of a caregiver, which is my late dad, as well as my younger brother. So I'm the first of three. So I have two younger brothers, and I'll tell you why that's important, because as firstborn, everything is on you. You're kind of brought up to be responsible. And growing up, I used to complain because I always felt everything was on me. And my dad, God rest his soul, would say, there's a reason why God put you in that position, and he would not give you something you can't handle. Because I just felt, I'm like, well, I have two brothers, I have to do everything. But, life throws you lemons, and
you make lemonade.
I know what exactly. You make lemonades.
Or you make a meringue. A lemon pie, hey, whatever.
You can make a lemon drops, everything. And now I understand, as you get older, why I believe there was a reason why I'm the first and who I am. So my dad, he fought a very brave journey, almost 10 years. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And then my brother and, my youngest brother was diagnosed with lymphoma in 2014. And I'll tell a little bit of story around that. When my dad was first diagnosed, I wasn't scared because, he went through the test. He's very health conscious. He goes for his physicals, PSA levels high. I was here in the US. He was based in Nigeria. And he's like, I'm going to come here. My best friend has scheduled him, appointments, and I'm one of those that problem solving. If there's an issue, as long as there's something that we can do about it, I'm not one to get anxious. And my dad is the same way. So, he came here, he had, and as he was going through that, I was also praying, God, please let it just be, because I've done all the research, it's not going to be cancer. But, he went through the biopsy and the doctor's like, it is cancer. It was localized, and they gave him all the options. They're like, you could do the radical prostatectomy, remove it. And we came as a family, we prayed about it, and he said, you know what, I'm going to just remove it. So that was so for me, it wasn't, I just prayed and I'm like, okay, there's a solution for it. And, and so it was that. And so, he went through the journey, again, because there was a treatment plan and, everybody was positive, everything went well. So I just felt, okay, it is what it is. It is life. He went through it, he testified, and everything was good. So he was fine up until 5 years after, exactly 5 years. And then there was a reoccurrence. And when that happened, and my dad is a typical Nigerian man, I was one who would always ask him, like, okay, how are you going for your test? I mean, he did all his checkup, all his scans, all that stuff. But when it happened again, he didn't tell me. So he was like, oh, my PSAs are okay. So by the time I got to know about it, it had spread, it was metastasized, terminal. I went through a mixed bag of emotions because I'm daddy's girl. I'm just like him. And, seeing him from somebody who's very independent, does everything, to somebody who, went through treatment, pain, all that stuff. So it was tough. My mom is a strong woman. She couldn't handle it emotionally because once they, tell you it's metastasized and whatnot. So I just had to be, I was his health proxy and whatnot. In 2014, I was 9 months pregnant. I did notice my younger brother, he was losing weight. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, I'm fine. I, changed my diet because it's a little chubby, but something in me was just saying that it seems like something wasn't right. But, he's a boy, man, whatever. I'm like, just go to the doctor. Meanwhile, at that time, my dad was going through radiation. And so he was going through radiation. We're, just supporting him, making sure he was following up on his appointments. And my dad is a strong man, so he always had this positive mindset. Falaba alluded to that. That has always helped. So no matter how bad the situation is, and that's just even across my family, it's always, okay, well, at least where there's a will, there's a way. And we'll support that with prayers and, so that kind of just helps you keep going and not, feeling down and feeling that, oh my God, what's going to happen. So we were all kind of remaining positive. So 2014, my dad was going through radiation. We're supporting him. And my youngest brother was losing weight. And so my mom, based in Nigeria, came back and then was like, you know what, that mother instinct. I don't think there's, my brother was like, I'm fine. He wasn't. So before I knew it, he had lymphoma, stage 3. It was almost stage 4. Wow. I got a call. I was actually on my way to pick up my older one. I have 2 boys, and I was 9 months pregnant with my second one. And my mom called me, your brother has been admitted, you need to come now. Meanwhile, my dad was, getting radiation. And I was like, what's going on? Why is he admitted? Going there. To cut the long story short, he was diagnosed. I remember with my 9-month belly.
Oh yeah. So what was going on at that point? Because you're cooking life. You're dealing with 2 lives. I mean, like, please talk about that. Like, how did you?
I was numb. Honestly, as I was just reflecting on what to share, I was numb, and I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know what to feel. I do credit it to, in retrospect, when I look back, I cannot explain to you how I went through it or what, because I had to go into that problem solving.
You were just going, yeah.
Was just going. My mom was so concerned because, I was, and, again, my faith is everything. Believing in God is everything. God has continually showed me that with everything, he's got me, because with all the stress, my blood pressure never went up. God just gave me, to the glory of, God just gave me that.
I'm in shock. Like, I didn't even, I was just, to be honest with you, like, seriously, Diola, I'm sorry because, like, I only thought we were going to, like, talk about daddy. Yeah. I didn't know that,
Oh, no, yeah.
Baby brother was also, you were, like, dealing with 2 fires and trying to birth,
yes. Yeah, I was. And he had a big tumor that they had to actually remove it. So he had to have, like, immediate surgery. I drove, my dad, thankfully, as he was getting radiation, he was at least okay. So I just switched and focused and took. My mom could not take it. So I would drive, and she's like, I'm like, I'm okay, don't worry. So I'll drive enough fiber. I'm sure they thought maybe I was the patient because with with the big belly, and it was tough. It was tough. I ended up, because I was 9 months pregnant, so I had had my second one, but it was juggling all of it. Meanwhile, my dad was kind of going a bit downhill. But my brother, I was just making sure that he used medications. For me personally, my husband was great. He took care of the home front. But one of the things that helped me is making sure there was some form of normalcy in the house. So having so I had a new baby as well as my little one who was 3 or 4. I just made sure, yes, I'm dealing with the chaos and everything going on, but when I'm home and I'm with them, I just wanted to switch off. That helped a little bit. And I'm also one for humor. Even while I was sitting with my dad, MGH, when he was towards the last days, I will put on, I love, comedians and everything. I'll put on that. And he wasn't even talking, but he would smile. So it's, for me, it's, something that would just take your mind off things, creating some sense of normalcy, while even though there's a lot going on, I had to just create that, whoosah, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was the one that my mom, my dad, and everything was going the same way. And, my husband, while he was taking care of the home front, it was very, sometimes just as when you're in labor, like he didn't know how to help me. And I just like, as long as you just be with the kids, are you picking up? Okay, we're good. But I was present as well, because it was therapeutic for me to be a mother, to be there.
To just be doing, yeah.
So I was juggling a lot of stuff, and I also had a new job. I didn't have that. So it was a new job, new baby, new. But God, I do believe God did it for me. I didn't, I just felt I had to handle a lot of things. One of the things I'll just say for me in terms of what should I have done differently is to leverage my support system. And I didn't do enough of that. With my personality, I'm very sensitive to how people are feeling. And I'm like, I would rather go through it myself because I don't want to add that extra burden, and because that
Any other person.
than what I'm going through. But that's not in retrospect, because I do feel I have a bit of post-traumatic stress later on, because it was just a lot and I never dealt with it. I think Falaba, as well as yourself, mentioned that I never dealt with it. I have awesome friends, awesome support family. They wanted to be there, but I just
Then you shut them out.
yeah, just dealing with it on my own. And I feel I'm feeling that now. I would recommend that you leverage your support system. I think, as Falabo said, the positivity, as you said as well, extremely important. Even with everything, my dad, till the very end, I remember till the very end, he was like, I know I would get through this. I know it just helps with that. And Toyin, one of the things, even we had conversations, I just loved your spirit, even as much as that humor in it as well. Like, oh my God, because that's how I am, and I just feel that's the best way to handle it. That positivity does help you. So just wanted to reemphasize that. But yeah, that's pretty much my journey.
Yeah, thank you.
My brother is 5 years in remission. So I'm thankful for that.
Beautiful. Just
peace. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. So now how is mommy doing?
Mommy is doing okay. It was tough in the beginning. It was tough in the beginning. It still is. Again, I have very traditional Nigerian parents. I tried, how are you really doing? I'm good. Jesus is my best friend. I mean, Jesus is
Jesus is all our best friend, but how are you doing?
How are you really doing?
Let's leave the Christianese alone.
Exactly.
It's so funny. Parents, like you said, traditional Nigerian parents. I remember when from what I heard, when I got the diagnosis, I was told my dad didn't shower. He locked himself up. So I had to put myself in doddering high gear. So every day, so it wasn't even about me anymore. So every day I had to get on WhatsApp video and show him my face, like, I'm okay. And so it's almost like a double-edged sword. Like, you're putting your needs. So for me as a patient, putting your needs on the side just for everybody to feel like you're okay. And then when everybody says you're okay and they go their merry way, that whole feelings that you put to the side, you have to come and deal with it later. And so I didn't deal with it. So I had to now start dealing with it, because it was coming up as weeds and flaring up in very weird places. So I wish I was vulnerable and I allowed him to cry. So, cry your cry, because you'll be fine. And then come and visit, daddy, cry your cry, I'm fine, because my husband went into full range, like renovation mode. It was like, everybody around me they had their own way of dealing with it. And then I had to still be a mother. My kids, my son, for the longest time, he shut down. And I had to pretty much try to bring him, like, what are you feeling? How are you feeling? What do you think? A lot of emotions, like that whole journey when you are, especially when you're the patient and you have all these people who think, oh, you're fine, you're a strong person, and suddenly something happens to you. It's like, okay, how are we going to handle this? And a part of you is still trying to be the mama bear, like, okay, everybody, all is well, even though you're dealing with your own pain. I'm fine. I'm eating, I'm going about, but I wish I was a bit more vulnerable.
Yeah, me too.
I wish I was a bit more vulnerable. Because and the truth is, even with the little vulnerability that I exposed, people, Sister Falabo was like, thank God for her. She rallied the troops from church. People were bringing me food, fruits. It was just like, I got that, I got the pampering, but I wish I was a little more, help me out.
Exactly.
I wish, but you know what? Hey, I'm happy. I'm glad where I am today, and I'm happy for you that at least you've been able to deal with it. But your little baby boy, though, did he know what was going on? Your first son?
Not at all. My first son, not.
And he had no clue.
I think he did, because kids are perceptive. Because I would, go from Dana to MGH and come back work. I was doing that, and he did ask, very, very inquisitive. And I'll just say, at some point, because we pray every night, he would say, God, please heal Grandpa. And so that faith, I was shocked, because it's not something we, we obviously pray for people who are sick, but he was very specific. And we, they went to see, and they're very close to their uncle as well, because my youngest really, took care of him when he was a baby. They knew, but here's the thing, even when I was super stressed and I come back, you just, they'll come and just give you that hug. And that's why I just that God would just, I do believe God would just do. And I'll just, all the stress and all the worry, anxiety from, when I'm driving back home, I feel okay, and then you're going through the hustle and yelling at all the kids and whatnot. But yeah, they in their own way, they I try to be as open, even when my dad passed on, and just explain the situation. And we kind of went, occasionally I'll be like, I miss him. I'm like, yeah, it's okay, but he's in the bed, resting and not in pain and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I thank God. I thank God for all of you, because I'm constantly inspired and encouraged, and
thank you. And I also want to thank you, and I want to thank you and your husband Yinka for your help as well, because at that point, again, the little help, because you do have, so in the process you have your network that you reach out to. Yes. And thank God for that one advice: get a humidifier. Oh, that was, because chemo meds will dry you out. Yeah. They will dry you out. So it was good to just have the air be nice and cool and very comforting to the nostrils, because anything and everything that the nose needed to filter air was gone from the chemo. Yeah. So the moisture was so thank you so much for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Shea butter is the best. I just wanted to reiterate that. I have a not just for chemo skin, dry skin.
All right, to shea butter.
Shea butter is the best.
Yep, definitely. Thank you, Diola. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Last but not the least, I would like to introduce Priska Ochianga. The way I met Priska was kind of interesting. So we met on another community, cancer community, and it's been a journey since then, and I'm so glad that she's here with us to share her story with us. Priska, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's true. We met at the opportune time, because at that particular time, I actually did not have a good support system. So my parents, my mom, my dad have been gone for over 25 years now. So I've been an orphan that long. And my sisters, brothers, all scattered all over. And you find I believed so much in myself. I would call myself superwoman. I can do anything and everything. So in 2019, when about my sales and marketing, my high life, the stress, the targets, and the what, I never used to take breakfast most of the time, because I didn't have time for breakfast. I had time for my targets. So I started hitting the gym because I felt I was a bit heavy. So while hitting the gym, there was a big lump on the left breast. It had been there for a while. And I told myself it's high time I go and have it checked. So I went to the hospital, given painkillers, and I was told, this is just menses, it will go away. So after a month, I was still feeling the lump, big, as the size of a kiwi fruit. And I said, no, I need to have this checked. So I was referred to a different hospital, whereby they did scans, they did a mammogram, and then I was sent for a biopsy. So when I went for the biopsy, that's when I was told, okay, we also have to do for the right breast. And then when I was going for the right breast biopsy, I was told the left breast biopsy results are out. And I was like, okay, can you tell me the results? They told me, book an appointment, see your doctor. We cannot share anything with you right now. So I went back to my doctor, and the look on her face wasn't that good. You know, the face they put, and then they return a fake smile. So I was like, is it that serious? And she said, yeah, it's kind of serious, but you need to do a TNM. So a TNM basically is the tumor size, the number of nodes, and if it has spread. So when they did the tumor size, it was 4 centimeters, quite big. And the number of nodes were several, actually all over the body. So I was like, my whole body inside was spotted like a leopard with nodes everywhere, everywhere. So it had spread. So they had to do they checked I was HER2 positive, which wasn't so bad. That's what the doctor said. So HER2 positive.
It's
I was a
treatable.
bit, yeah, it's treatable. But I was at stage 4 metastasis. So stage 4, I was referred to the oncology team to start medication immediately. So my doctor was telling me, so I asked my doctor, so when is the surgery? And my doctor said, what surgery? At this point, my dear, no surgery for you. We'll just put you on palliative care and just maintain you for a period. And I asked him, what do you mean? Then he said, no, don't worry, you'll be in safe hands, blah, blah, blah. And at that particular point, I was not thinking. I was just seeing his lips move. And I was crying because at that particular point, I was thinking of my kids. I've got 4 boys, 2 are twins. The 2 twins were 8 years old. One was already doing his exams. I had a career ahead of me. You know, I don't have parents, both sides, my mother's side, my father's side. And I was like, what is this? You know, I was asking God, was I the right candidate for this? Or is this the devil? You know, you don't know who has brought you at that particular point. So I was with my husband. He's been my support system ever since. And from there, the oncology team told me I need to start treatment immediately. So starting treatment immediately was the following month. So the following month, I started chemo. That was, I was doing Taxol and I was doing Herceptin because I had HER2 positive. It's bad, it's terrible, you're dying. You know, you see yourself dying. It's bad constipation. I had constipated for like 4 days. So on the 5th day, my body was giving up everything. I was on the floor, I was crawling and I was crying. Then 3 days, I had dreadlocks, 11 years old dreadlocks. After 3 weeks, my hair was dropping. My scalp it was painful. My body was, you know, and before treatment, I had gone through another phase, depression. I had lost like 20 kg. I was already thin. The medicine was already working on my system. My kids, I could see myself dying. I could see people telling me, don't worry, everything will be okay. We'll take care of your children. I remember my stepmom telling me, don't worry, your kids are in safe hands. And I was like, what are these people telling me? Because they saw me like gone already. So I went through and asked myself, what do I want? And I've always overcome every challenge in my life. What is this? And I told myself, no. So what makes me stay healthy? I changed my lifestyle. I dropped fast food, I dropped sugar, I dropped meat, animal products. I changed everything about my diet. I started exercising, I started meditating, I started praying. I would pray in the night, I would pray in the morning. I would stay with my kids, I would love more. I would, you know, I was so patient with tellers in the supermarket. Before I would take them at a marathon speed. I was always impatient. I started learning to be patient. I started learning to be more loving. I started calling friends. I started getting in touch with people. So by that time, I was towards ending my first chemo cycle. That was in November 2019. So come January 2020, I got a clean bill of health, PET scan. It showed clean bill of health. There was only one spot on the breast. All my body, it has resolved because it had spread to the bone, the spinal, the liver, the kidney, everywhere, my armpit, everywhere. It had all resolved. In fact, the doctor asked me, what did you do differently?
Exactly.
And I just told him it's God. He's an Indian. And he was like, I told him, yes, it's God. and positivity. Then from there, I moved to April. Then come April, I was preparing to go for the second round of chemo. And I fell and hit my head, beat my tongue, lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was paralyzed on the left, totally gone. Could not stand, could not do anything. I could talk. And then from there, I was rushed to hospital. I was admitted. I had a tumor in my brain, 3 centimeters. Then they had to do a craniotomy on me. They removed it. I was paralyzed for 4 weeks. So as much as I could talk, I could eat, I was, you know what they call somebody a garbage? I've gone through that. They would wipe me, wash me in the hospital. It was a terrible experience, especially coming back home. It was a terrible experience, especially when I see my husband leaving the house. I would cry. I would tell him, don't go. Who will take me to the toilet? Who will wash me? Who will lift me? Who will feed me? I could not go down the stairs. I could not go up the stairs. I really depended on everybody. So one time my husband went out and I really wanted to go to the washroom. So I told my son, please help me. So they brought me this bucket, you know, in the living room. I chased everybody out. It was a terrible experience. My body was weak, my skin was dry, and everything was just giving up. Everything. My heartbeat was slow. My liver, when I went for a second check on the liver functions were not as good as they were. Then after 2 weeks, I got somebody to come in for physiotherapy, and I started walking with a crutch, one side. So from walking, you know, at night I would sleep. When I started walking with a crutch, I would take myself to the toilet, to the bathroom, you know, and at night people are sleeping. I'm like, I just want to walk. I'm walking again. I just want to walk. I would wake up, take myself to the toilet and back the washroom. You know, I was saying I can walk again. And I would see my kids. I started getting hope. I started praying. I started reaching out to other patients. When I go for chemo, I don't just let you go. I need to know, how are you living your life? What's your lifestyle? What's the diet you're taking? And when I went for radiotherapy and I left the doctor's office, I was always positive, always laughing, always looking nice, always with the makeup, you know. There are times you don't even feel like combing your hair or even leaving the bed. So the doctor saw another patient and told the patient, go after that patient who's just left my office and ask her, what is she doing differently? And that lady reached out. But apparently, she passed away a few months ago. Unfortunately, hers was spreading so fast. But positivity, I read a lot of books. I started my own farm, Toy knows that. And I'm telling you, I love it. And from that, my last chemo was on the 17th of last month. My doctor told me, we have moved you from palliative to low risk. To low risk. That was God. That was God. My body has gone back to normal. My eating is back to normal. My kids already know my situation right now. So they love my bald head. When I put on wigs, they are mad. They say, Mama, stay the way you are. Stay the way God has created you. And I love my kids more. My husband has been more and more. Let me tell you, to get a man who will take you to the bathroom and watch out and come back and check on you, are you done? And help you dress and feed you and pray for you. Pray, you know, like in health. And he doesn't want to hear any negative thing you say out of your mouth. That is God and friends. Yes. It has been quite a journey, but let me tell you, kids are, my son prayed for me when I left the hospital. My son said, God, in 6 days, my mom will be walking. And he said that for the 6 days. And on the 6th day, I was walking. I could stand on my own, I could walk, and I could do several things. I've gotten my coordination back, my balance back. And let me tell you, cancer is only a name. There's never been someone who's died of cancer. You die of any underlying disease, but not cancer. So we just need to stand up and just give ourselves hope. Give ourselves hope. It's not fighting it. No, you give yourself hope. You wake up like a normal person. Look at yourself as a normal person. You're normal. It's like having flu. Just say you go through those chemo sessions, which are so traumatizing. They are so traumatizing. So caregivers are the best. For me, I wouldn't tell you I had a sister who was always in my house checking on me. No. I had an aunt. No. I had nobody. It was me and my family, me and my kids. And God blessed me with a house manager who would massage me. She massaged me for 2 weeks, that lady. And I was back to myself. So let me tell you, it is you. It's all about you. You give up, your body gives up. Yeah. And you're gone. But when you continue to encourage you, what I've gone through, it's only God who has been through with me. It has been bad, but I've enjoyed it. I'll say I've enjoyed it. It has been bad, but I've enjoyed it. I've gone through that storm. I was not alone in the storm. The sleepless nights, I would pray. I stopped praying for myself. I started praying for people. May I call other patients and I pray for them. I forget about my situation and that makes me stronger.
Thank you so much, Priska. You are, so I mean, I'm gonna confess, I didn't know this much about Priska until now. And also Priska was actually a recipient of our Dance Away Cancer Fund that we did just before the pandemic. She was one of our recipients. And so thank you so much, because oftentimes when people hear of stage 4, especially in our communities, they write themselves off. They just say it's over. And like you said, the minute you say it's over in your mind, then there is no will to fight. And if there's anything I hear that is common amongst all you courageous women, is that spiritual care and medicine can work hand in hand. And there's ample of research that shows that when you integrate both, you get better outcomes, because the truth is the spiritual care aspect helps your mind to relax. And once your mind is relaxed, your body can fight. You know, the immune system can do its work. The medications can work and agree with your body. So I'm so grateful that you all brought your faith journey into it. You showed us that it does work, it can work. They can both work hand in hand. And I'm also grateful that, your homes did not scatter in the journey, because I know of people, and I would like to, if you don't mind, 2 minutes each of you, how did you keep your marriages? Because I know of people that once you hear cancer diagnosis, spouses don't talk to each other anymore, or one of them leaves, divorce. It happens. It's happening. So how did you do it? Falabo. Then, Diola, how? I mean, Diola, I don't even know where to start. You had a baby, I don't even know where to start. So Falabo, start and then we go around.
I'll have to say that from the beginning, even the doctor told me, she said, I think based on statistics, it shows that most times a lot of cancer patients, when they're married, sounds like people with their separate ways, because there's finance involved. There's a lot of care. And when Priska said her husband, what he did, it's a lot. It's like a test. That's the major test of
in sickness and in health test.
Because honestly, you don't know the outcome. You don't know how it's gonna go. You don't know how it's gonna go. I mean, I have friends who have experienced it, and they lost their spouse and all that. So to cancer and everything. And you just don't know how it's going to go. So I think it's just a lot of determination. A lot of determination within you saying that I'm going to make this work. And I know sometimes, I know my husband has said, like, sometimes I say something to him and he's like, you don't know how I feel. Like, if you really know how I feel, like, there are days I just tried. I just tried. And I just, or he told me how, the night when I was told he came, he was just rolling on the floor, like, from one end to the other, like, what is this? How am I going to do this? So, you just try to talk about it, but then it's really, I would say how both of you have really started the journey in the first place, how your marriage is. And then, because nobody prepares for this. You never know. Nobody knows at what point you're going to be involved in, when anything is going to happen. And when it happens, just go to God. I remember myself in the hospital when he told me, everything is going to be fine, okay. And I thought of my kids, I thought of myself, I thought of so many things. And when he left the room in the hospital, I didn't cry. I wailed. I wailed that all the nurses at the nursing station, they heard me. They heard me and they came in there. And then I had the patient, there was another patient inside the room whom were still, friends, whom we were friends now from that time, we still communicate. And she had to get up from her bed, come to my side of the bed, and was just stroking my hands. And then afterwards, she said, can we take a walk? And then we took a walk. And we talked about so many things. I sobbed. Because I was like, how am I going to do this? Marriage, manage my children, marriage, manage my career, my job, manage family, marriage. So much is on your shoulders. And you just feel like you're lost. And initially, it's almost like you're going from acceptance to reality.
To denial, yeah.
It's not, a lot of times, you have to accept it first. And when you accept it, that's when you're now thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to? But you have to go from acceptance and then to reality. Like, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to manage it? And then he told me, we're going to go through this. We'll walk through this. God will help us. God will guide us. God will show.
So there's a question here.
I have to say, initially, it wasn't about faith at all. It was faith came in later on to everything into the equation. Initially, it was just like I was just staring, and then later on, when everything was gone, the crying and everything, I said, Father, you just have to hold my home, and we just talk about it. We just talk about it.
So there's a question here. One of our attendees, it says, how did you share the diagnosis with your partner, and what was his or her reaction?
Actually, for me, my partner, I actually went for it because initially when I didn't know what was going on. I went for colonoscopy, and when I went for the colonoscopy, they did the test. We both went together. He took me there, so he knew he was there. So he even found out before me. And then when I woke up from the test, I was just like, I just saw like almost like 10, doctors and everyone surrounding my bed, the outside, all surrounding my bed. And I was wondering what happened. I just came for a test, right? I just came for a colonoscopy test. And then it became something else. And one of the nurses just came by, bent down, stroking my hand and said, honey, I'm so sorry. We found a tumor. And I'm looking at tumor. Like, I'm thinking maybe they're talking to another patient.
What was your husband's reaction? How did he react?
He said, I wasn't there. They had shown him. They had shown him. he found out before me. That's what I'm saying. They had shown him.
Wow.
They actually told him, and he said he was just staring at the screen like, what? He has, he said he was just dumb, and he didn't know how to. So when the nurses were telling me, he didn't think at all. I was just staring at them like, are they really talking to me? Because I came for a test, and I actually called my job that day. I'm like, oh, I'll see you guys soon. I didn't see them soon till like over a year later. So he found out, and later on, even when they did when they took me to the room and the doctors were talking to me, he still didn't think in my head, because I still was trying to figure out, and this be real, and this actually be real, because I was just numb. And then when everybody left and I was in the room with him, he's like, he looked at me and like, we're gonna go through this. And but when he left, I sobbed. I sobbed. I sobbed so, and I cried so loud that because I was just lost. I just like, I don't know what to do. But all the stories, you never know how it's gonna go. And when they told me, and then I saw the concern of the doctors, of the surgeon's face, and everybody. And when they told me it was stage 3, and they're not sure, and these messages I was getting, I'm like, man, this thing is over.
Thank you so much, Falabo.
Thank you.
So, Diola, how do you manage your home?
Yeah,
You're the caregiver. You're dealing with you're dealing with your dad. You're dealing with your brother. You got a baby coming on. Like, how did you navigate that with hubby?
So hubby. As a matter of fact, Falaba knows him well too. You're laughing. A matter of fact kind of person. Here's an issue. We're similar in that way, where if there's an issue, how do we address it? So we talk about it. I think that, from the get-go, Falaba just hit on a whole bunch of stuff. Knowing your partner from, how do we handle issues? He's not one that would freak out. He's not, so okay, where can I help? He started himself in those situations. I would, again, because I didn't really, an area of growth for me is just being vulnerable and saying, and communicating how I was really feeling. Because I think at some point with all the stress, I couldn't really communicate. I do feel that was an issue, because sometimes you're expecting your spouse to sort of understand where you're coming from, maybe, and not just say, let's do this, and let's go. You just want that, you want to be heard, and you want them to kind of feel what you're feeling. But I wasn't good at communicating that. So I do feel that was an issue, because for me, I felt I didn't get the full support emotionally. But again, I wasn't open. I wasn't communicating.
Open, yeah.
You should know. But
you should know.
You don't know. When you're going through it, there was a lot of things. I'm the one dealing. My dad's held prostate. I was dealing, and my brother. So everything. And we just, he knows me. Where can I help? Where can I, with the kids, I didn't have to worry about the kids. I didn't, even though that was therapeutic for me, because I still was being that mother and everything.
Somebody said we don't read minds, ladies. Oh my God. You know what?
Mind readers.
Brother, now I'll get to you later.
Exactly. I'm sure you guys laughing there.
You're not mind readers. Okay, we got you. All right.
Fine. I know, only knowing somebody for 20 years now. That's an excuse. Yes, they're not mind readers. 20 years, you'll be able to read minds. But no, so that it just, again, our attitude of just stepping in what needs to be done. He's also, somebody who doesn't take life too seriously. And I think that helps, because for me as well, because there's just so many things. So it was helpful to come home or just be able to just talk and do the usual things that we do and not always dwelling on the situation of things. I think that helped a lot.
Beautiful.
But yeah.
Beautiful. Priska, So,
Yes.
I know I mean, your husband was your rock, and please, shout out to him. I mean, I'm raising a banner on
Yeah,
his
that's very
behalf.
true.
Uh,
Yeah, him being number one.
yeah.
Yeah, he's been very supportive. He's been doing the research, telling me, oh, this is not bad. Oh, the results you've seen are not so bad. You're moving okay. So you'd want to see my blood test, you want to see the exam. He was actually there even during the biopsy. I told the doctor, no, just let him sit. Let him see what is happening. Because at the end of the day, he'll ask me, what did they do? So he's been through the journey, so encouraging me, praying for me, and even mobilizing friends. There was a time I really needed some financial assistance. He mobilized his colleagues. And something else I forgot to share, I've got an amazing, amazing, amazing director in the company who's allowed me to work from home since 2019 to date.
Beautiful, beautiful.
And another amazing lady called Grace. Oh my God, she's like my other sister. She's been so encouraging. She also has a mother who's going through the same. So we've been sharing notes. And most of the time you find that we help each other in terms of what to do or not to do, because at least I can tell her what I'm going through. The mom will not be able to express herself well. So we are able to help each other in that. So my husband at one point was very weak when I was in the hospital, because I always want to be in charge. I'm the superwoman of the house. I'm in charge of what we buy, what we cook, what their kids eat, what they do during the day. You know, we don't want them to be idle. So when I was in hospital for 2 weeks, I've never seen a broken man. He was
Beautiful.
thin and dark and discouraged because he didn't know what to expect. So he didn't know whom he's taking back home. Someone who cannot do anything for herself. But I told him, no, let's trust in God. We even bought a wheelchair, and I would see myself being wheeled to church and back home for a year, 2 years. Do you know, God, I sat on that wheelchair for one day. It's in the store, still brand new. I never used it again, only for one day. And from there, when I came from hospital, you can imagine your only support has been alone for 2 weeks. Oh my God, let me tell you, my role has never changed. He'll send for his cup as always, and he say, faster, I need my cup right now. Make me that food. For him, nothing has changed. He doesn't see me weak. He's saying, I want my food on time. I'm on the way coming. Put it right on the table. I want my porridge. You know, like nothing has changed until my husband would tell me, you're just from chemo yesterday and you're running up the stairs, down the stairs. So he looks at me as well. He says,
It's so interesting. And let's talk about the chemo a little bit, actually, because the truth is, after the first 2 days, I think for me, it was okay. It's usually when you first come in, you're tired,
yes.
you get those reactions. But as soon as I eat, I rest, I'm not bothered by anything. By the third day, I'm actually running up and down. And my husband used to look at me like, what is wrong? You just had chemo. So to everyone, chemo of 1950 is not chemo of 2021.
Yes.
Let me say right now, it's like night and day. Anytime I went for chemo, I had people come with their work. People are taking chemo and they're working in the office, they're doing their business. People are living their life. So
yes,
I think science and research has brought cancer care to a point where it's like a chronic disease and you can live your life. Priska is a testimony, stage 4. I mean, I didn't even know it was that bad. All the lymph nodes in the body had spots here and there, but here she's a living miracle. She's a testament.
yes.
People are living their lives, and that's the goal here at the foundation, that you can live your life with a cancer diagnosis. You can be a mother, you can dream, you can run your business, you can go to work, you can you can live your life with a cancer diagnosis, and that's the goal. I know that Yemisi Malomo raised her hand. I'm wondering if she can put her questions in the Q&A. But she stopped raising her hand. Yemisi, do you have a question for us? Yep. And someone said early diagnosis is key and it could impact. Oh, definitely, 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 definitely. That is so true.
But I would like to say something. Like the friend I met, she was diagnosed in I think 2019 December. As much as it was early diagnosis, there were things she was doing wrong. So it spread from stage 1, it started growing to stage 2. She actually died when it had reached stage 4, and she was still going through treatment.
Wow.
Yes, she was still going through treatment. So as much as it's still early, there are some things we really need to put in check. Yes, monitoring. Then, having a lot of antioxidants, eating right. Meat, please. If you have to do meat, maybe once in a month. No sugars, no fast foods, you tone down.
You turn
And
it
the
down.
body recovers, the body recovers. Constant detoxing, especially after chemo, is key.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
very key. To
Yes.
relieve your body from all the dead cells, then your body start getting life again. So I think that is very key. And exercise, you don't need to be lifting weights, you don't need to be jogging. Walking alone helps. Walking. I've only been doing walking. I started weightlifting, but hurting my muscles. I get a lot of pain. Then I don't sleep well. So I do a lot of walking in the morning, in the evenings, drinking a lot of water. And number 1, praying, meditating, just sitting under the stars and thanking God for another day, and Him giving you another day, the following day. I'm telling you, it's key.
Priska, someone asked a question. Where did you get your treatment? Which hospital?
Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi, because that's the only place where there's the only PET scan in Kenya. PET scan machine, you can imagine, it's only one. People travel from all over to come to Aga Khan Hospital. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Nigeria. I don't think we have a PET scan in Nigeria yet. Oh.
Yeah, they come to Kenya.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole different fireside chat, like policies. Yeah. We actually have a scientist as an attendee. She used to be a former board member. Shout out to Dr. Abina Ajiman. And yes, this will be recorded. Yes, we will. The recording will be shared. We'll put it on our YouTube channel for people to listen to. Thank you, Dr. Linda. So it's like on the policy level, I don't even want to begin to think. It's like a whole different like Pandora's box, because I had the chance to go to a conference that was hosted at the Farber a couple of years ago, and actually, Dr. Nyong'o, Lupita's dad, he's a prostate cancer survivor, came to speak.
Yes.
And he said, the typical minister of health in Africa has to deal with a lot. Number 1, they have to deal with that. They have to deal with communicable diseases, cholera, diarrhea. They have to deal with malaria, cholera, then AIDS. So by the time they allocate all the money, cancer gets, like, when he showed me the diagram, I won't lie to you, I was depressed. And I was just like, God, thank you, I wasn't in Nigeria when I had my diagnosis. And it is the truth. So at the end of the day, it's not just, we can't rely on government. Even here in the US, for those of us who are here in the US, let us remember, it took advocates, it took money bags, it took people who were patients, who had gone through, to push Nixon to pass the War on Cancer Act. It was not just the government. If it was the government, it won't happen. I can't remember the lady. The day I remember it, I'm going to look for a picture and actually put it on. This woman, she went busting heads. She pretty much, at one point, she was even victimizing some politicians who would not side with her. That we need to talk, we need a Cancer Act. And that is what we are benefiting from today. in the US that we're able to have cancer centers almost everywhere. You can have you can have your radiotherapy down the street at a community hospital, and you can do it. We're not there yet on the continent. I hope we'll be there one day. But if we're waiting on the government to do it, it's going to be long.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's the
sure.
likes of us, advocates like us, pushing the needle, pushing the button, ensuring that it becomes something that that gets a seat at the table. But right now,
Yes.
it's not, because HIV/AIDS is there, cholera is there, malaria is there, infant mortality, maternal mortality, like all those things are still there. So they're not even looking at cancer at all. They're not. But there is hope. That's why the likes of us are here, and we hope that
Yes.
those policymakers are listening, and that we too, those of us in the diaspora can also lend a hand. Ladies, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Dr. Akimbami says, oftentimes those of us on the sidelines may think we know what is best for survivors. If folks are vulnerable, let me see, what did he say? Where is it? It just went away. I'm trying to read that chat. Pop it up. And so let me read it properly. Oftentimes, those of us on the sidelines might think we know what is best for survivors or how to help. If folks are vulnerable with us, how can we give better support from the sidelines? Who wants to answer that? So,
I guess you just need to be armed with information. Because for me, I will tell you, I was a bit ignorant. I stayed with my sister-in-law, cooking for her, dropping her off for her chemo and radiotherapy, not even knowing that she has cancer. So when I was diagnosed, I was so ignorant. I never even asked her, how are you feeling? The pain and stuff and all that. I was like, okay, you've been treated? She says yes. She sleeps. The following day, we just take care of her, take her back to hospital. I was so ignorant. So guys just need to read. Information is key. Just read.
and information in the
Yes.
right places.
And it's all over the internet. And ladies should frequent the pap smear. People are so scared of pap smear.
Yeah, ladies, please. Yep.
It's annual.
Ladies, check your breasts. Go for your pap smears. Brothers,
they know what to
go
do.
for your prostate check. 40. Right now, the American Cancer Society has put the age for colon screening at 45. Gentlemen, please. And if there is a cancer diagnosis in the family, don't be afraid to share with your provider, because that will give them more information to care for you. So you come from a family where mother had cervical cancer, grandmother had cervical cancer, and you did not tell your OBGYN those stories. They would not know they wouldn't know what to do. So they will have to, but if you give them that information, they'll be able to watch you like a hawk and give you, the proper care, and say, maybe, maybe you need to go for ultrasounds more often than anybody else. Maybe we need to do this more. So knowledge is key. Let's not be afraid. Let's not be ashamed to talk about our health. Ladies, I'm so grateful. I am grateful for you all. I am thankful that you allowed, today's Memorial Day here in the US. You could have been anywhere else. You could be spending time hiking with your family, but you're here. Priska, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm very grateful. I love you, ladies, from the bottom of my heart. And to all our attendees that have stayed with us, we are very grateful. Thank you for taking your time to join us. And until we meet again for our next Lifting the Veil series, I am Oluwatoyin Adewumi, and I hope that you will support our cause, donate, volunteer. Our website is, the URL is www.tambo-foundation.org. And I hope that you would support us in our causes and endeavors, and just help to lift voices, educate people, be aware, and let's continue to strip at those cultural, religious, and ethnic stigmas that have held us back as a community from getting treatment and being better survivors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Thanks, ladies.
Have a good one.
Learned a lot. I've been inspired as well. Great job, Tony.
Appreciate it.
I'm
Thank
super
you.
proud of you and what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.